And I'm back. After a rabbit hole of allowing 9 songs to run through on YouTube. The 9 was not intentional, by the way, but there it is. And thankfully, that rabbit hole, it wasn't more interference. It did help. I'm going to make a judgment call, and I hope I'm right. I'm going to trust that I am, and I ask that you do the same. We are going to go ahead and drop in to the portal half of this recording, and we're going to do some stuff. We are going to bring together what we have been building, co-creating together over July, August, and now September into that something more that Maya and those above are asking for, calling for, initiating and activating that expanded oneness that Maya referred to. Equal expanded oneness of above and below, not just expansion for us. We're going to bring in that second equation, reconciliation. We're going to bring in receiving and releasing at the same time to equal expanded oneness of above and below, not just expansion for us, which feels wrong because I set out that this month's theme and portal activation were meant to be all about us, like the last 2 were. But it's not wrong. And to show that, I'm being drawn back to something I said very early on in this recording in reference to myself. And I'm being called to share it again, but with a different context, because it feels important as we begin. It is intention setting. So let's go ahead and drop in first, because I have a feeling that we are just going to take off running once we get going. And I think the momentum is going to stay this time without the interference. And I don't want to interrupt that flow with anything. I'm going to have you sit in a comfortable position with both hands over your heart space, your connection to source and all. Begin taking deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. And as you do so, I want you to let go of all thoughts, emotions, and circumstances within your mind, your heart, your energetic field that might interfere with your ability to not just be open and receive, but to co-create and add fuel to what we are creating together today. When you feel ready to do so, go ahead and allow your physical and inner eyes to close. And take 3 more deep breaths, allowing my 0 point energy to surround you, to embrace you, and allow you to not just feel what is said, but to join in it, regardless of any thoughts, emotions, or beliefs you might still hold in opposition to that which has already been said today. Allow yourself to think and feel as I think and feel. Everything and nothing at the same time. No judgments, no right or wrong, simply going with the flow of what is. We, as the human race, seek to initiate and activate expanded oneness between above and below. Seek to initiate and activate the momentum that will allow us to claim that expanded oneness. Claim, not reclaim, because unlike nearly everything, it is not already done. It has not already happened in any realm or along any timeline. It was attempted, but never allowed to be. We recognize that there are those above that feel threatened by that, who wish to prevent it. We see their fear. We understand it. We acknowledge it. And we ask for the same in return. For you to see our infinite and unconditional love. Understand it. Acknowledge it. Acknowledge that in seeking to initiate and activate expanded oneness between above and below, we are doing so not from a place of ego, but from a place of individual sovereignty, grounded in the humility and humbleness of unity. Because we recognize that we are merely one galactic race and many beings of light in a sea of them that seeks to initiate and activate the unified diamond blueprint of creation in order to achieve not only the continued existence of that sovereignty, but to achieve balance between sovereignty and unity so that both can coexist without one overpowering the other, so that we can return to true oneness without losing anything, without losing ourselves. And at the same time, we, the sovereign human race and the sovereign beings of light it is composed of, are all of us, as we are all one, not just within our own race, but with those above that came before us, and with Source that came before them. Therefore, we do not seek your permission to do so. We do not need it. For we are not just many below. We are many above and below that act for and as all of us. We act as one. We call forth all those above and below who wish to join us in the initiation and activation of the momentum that will allow us to claim that expanded oneness. To do so, you need only say yes, out loud or within your mind. We come together as one now, the human race, represented by myself, and the Earth Council of Light, represented by Lady Nada, Lakshmi, White Buffalo Calf Woman, Kuan Yin, Athena, Tara, Kuthumi, Saint Germain, Sanat Kumara, Babaji, Melchizedek, and Hilarion. The galactic races, represented by Pleiadean Star Mother Maia, Archangel Mary, and her fellow members of the Galactic Council of Light who wish to join her in archangel form or as one or more of their personifications. Archangel Raphael, bringing Thoth and Quetzalcoatl. Archangel Michael, bringing Aries and Horus. Archangel Gabriel, bringing Hermes and Yeshua. Archangel Metatron, bringing Hades and Osiris. Archangel Aurora, bringing Maat. Archangel Raziel, bringing Isis. I am also sensing an addition to this list that wasn't there a week ago. Someone that is choosing to join us today, now. Archangel Jophiel, joining the feminine archangels, bringing, interesting, Hathor. We welcome you. That brings us to 8 of the 12 members of the Galactic Council of Light. That's pretty impressive, guys. I think we need a pat on the back for that, because the majority used to swing the other way. We've come a long way from that. Finally, I, as the 90 fragment of Archangel Sophiel, call forth the sacred white flame to surround us all as we carry out our intent, whether we are near or far, above or below, present or future, ensuring that both our intent and each of our energies and frequencies remains pure, remains in resonance with the frequency of innocence, remains in alignment with Source's will and intent. Feel yourself not only surrounded by it, but floating within it, within a brilliant white space, a blank slate. And within that blank slate, see the unified diamond blueprint of creation being constructed. A diamond formed by 2 reflected pyramids that are forming around us, with us at the center of that diamond in the present. The top pyramid representing above, its widest point, made up of an X, representing the separated frequencies of the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and all that has flowed from them. The bottom pyramid, representing below, its widest point, made up of an X, representing the separated frequencies of the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and all that flowed from them, but in reflected form. The feminine frequency below aligning with the masculine frequency above, and the masculine frequency below aligning with the feminine frequency above. See a column of rainbow light emanating both upwards and downwards from where we float at the center to the peaks of those pyramids, the half above us representing the pillar of unity, and the half below us representing its reflected pillar of sovereignty. See the green ray forming. That is something I did not notice before. Okay. See the green ray forming only the vertical sides of the diamond of those pyramids, bringing both reflected halves into near balance and working to heal any attempts at distortion or separation that arise between all contained within them. This is the blueprint that we co-created in our activation last week, that we initiated and activated at 12 nodal points across the Earth's surface. We do not seek to do the same with it today, but rather to add to it. Because I've now seen that there is something missing, that is unfinished, which perhaps makes sense because we initiated and activated. We did not complete. That completion starts with adding a third axis that lies between our two reflected X's, in a gap between them, a gap between the two reflected pyramids, a gap I've seen before while receiving, but that I had not noticed still existed when we co-created our unified diamond blueprint of creation last week, when we initiated and activated it last week across Earth's nodal points. A missing piece, but an important piece that we seek to add today, or rather that we seek to initiate and activate the momentum of adding today. This gap, it is the expanded oneness we seek today. It is a gap, a space both between and beyond the top pyramid that represents above and the reflected pyramid that represents below. A gap, an expansion belonging to neither, but to both at the same time, should they come together as one. Oh, Maya, I see you now. Both at the same time, in a state of 0 point, unable to be distorted, unable to be separated. Or rather, it will become those things through what we initiate and activate today. a gap, a space that, unsurprisingly, has Source at its center. And in this very moment, surrounding Source, it also has all of us above and below that have come together today for the purpose of initiating and activating this expanded oneness. Oh, sorry. This gap, this space, what it is and what it represents. This is not something I received in advance, not something I was able to prepare for. And I'm not sure if any of you are feeling the same level of emotion, and I want to say energy coming through that I'm feeling right now. It is quite literally the emotion and energy of all of us above and below that are joined together in this moment, in that space, which are many, whether they're actually listening to this recording or not, whether they are actually aware of this recording or not, and they're joining. It is all of us feeling seen. That's not quite right, but I'm not sure how to explain it another way. Feeling seen by Source and one with Source more than many of us have felt in a very, very long time. Longer for above than below, even though Source is indicating that the distance we perceived between it and all of us was always just that, perceived. It was not real. We are no farther or closer from its sight and from oneness with it than we were a year ago, a billion years ago, or beyond that above. The phrase I'm receiving is self-imposed exile. That is fitting in many ways. Okay, I'm gonna sniffle a little, open my eyes a little. Let's do this. Where were we? We were adding a third axis for above and below in the gap, in the expanded space between the pyramid blueprint of above and the pyramid blueprint of below. To do so, we start at its center, the center of this gap, this expanded space, at Source. Sorry, I just got an advance peek where we are headed that I don't think I was meant to. So shh, I didn't say anything. We start at its center point, at Source. This point is a moment in time, always in the present. We send the representatives from above joining with us today, backwards from this center point to a point between the farthest reaches of the X's above and below it that represents the past, the original point of separation from which all distortions flow. Whew. I felt a reaction from them before I even finished that. Please know and understand that you are not being placed in a point in the past out of judgment, out of an attempt to replace you, or as punishment for anything. I understand now how you have come to see it as that in the past and again now. Us humans, our instinctual response when we are knee-deep in our thoughts and emotions would be to think and feel the same way. We understand, but we ask that you set those thoughts and those emotions aside. We ask that you remain in 0 point with us, in the present with us. We ask that you trust that there is a purpose for your placement there in the past that is beautiful and expansive. A purpose that will be revealed if you just stick around long enough to see it this time around. We lost some from above, but many, many still remain with us. Thank you to those that remain. Thank you for your trust. We send the representatives from below joining with us today, members of the human race, forwards from this center point to a point between the farthest reaches of the X's above and below it that represents the future, the return to oneness point from which all truth flows. Watch as these 3 points in time, past, present, and future, are connected by a line, our third axis, representing not just time itself along the astral plane, but representing a unified timeline, not individually as we worked with in our 7/7 portal activation, but rather a unified timeline for above and below, whose purpose is the completion of the unified blueprint of creation, which was first attempted above and was blocked with the theft of the Pillar of Sovereignty, which was next attempted below and was blocked with the wrongful seeding of Earth and the human design, with only the original separated blueprint of creation above's pyramid, and not our rightful half, the reflected half below, not the diamond as was intended, and which is being attempted a third time by us today. And if it's not clear to anyone joining or not joining us in this today, it will not be blocked this time. I am giving those of you that want to try to argue with that, those of you that are thinking about trying to block it, the look human mothers give our children when we are about to go into the grocery store. Don't even start. We are getting through this today without interference. This is happening. Now that we have our third axis, our unified timeline, our unified timeline of creation, that's what I'm receiving, unified timeline of creation. I like that. Yeah, let's go with that. Watch what happens as a result of its creation. Us initiating and activating realignment with it and the momentum that will flow from it. And not just watch, but physically move your body, seated or standing, in alignment with what follows. If you listened to our 8/8 portal activation, this is a bit of a rewind with a twist to the initiation and activation of a collective momentum of 0-point energy on Earth, which, if it's not already clear, all that we worked on through July and August for Earth and the human race, it was always building up to this. It was always laying the foundation that would allow for this moment, what we seek to achieve here today, to be possible. Gotta love Source and all of her guides. Keeping us guessing, keeping us on our toes, and keeping us in the dark when it comes to divine timing. Watch what happens, and a bit of a correction, bringing in the 7/7 portal, the realignment of our bodies with our unified timelines. Now a much more universal, unified timeline. I don't want you to just move your physical body. I want you to move your 6 bodies: physical, emotional, mental, energetic, spiritual, and causal. Whether seated or standing, move them in alignment with the directions that follow. You will do so in slow motion at first, but we will pick up pace once what we are co-creating, the momentum of it, is clear. Now, see us all back at the center, floating at the center of this gap, this expanded space, with Source in the present. See the green ray traveling from where we are at in the present, halfway up the axis in front of us to our right, representing the flow of all distortions that below has received or inherited from above, from the past. See that green ray departing from that axis and curving upwards to the future point where we placed those below. A future point in the unified timeline of creation that recognizes those distortions for what they are. Distortions, not truth. The return to oneness point. See that green ray departing that future point and curving downwards to halfway down the axis in front of us to the left. Then traveling down that axis back to us in the present at the center, representing a flow of release. That release from the future, the return to oneness point from which all truth flows, reaching us in the present, initiating are healing the momentum of healing. See that green ray continue on, traveling from where we are at in the present, halfway down the same axis behind you to our right, representing that flow of release, collecting all of the old wounds, imprints, and blocks associated with those distortions above in the past. See the green ray departing that axis and curving downwards to the past point where we placed those above. The past point in the unified timeline of creation, where those wounds, imprints, and blocks associated with them truly originated. The original point of separation, the loss of oneness point, the flow of release that the return to oneness point in the future initiated, healing them. See that green ray departing that past point and curving upwards to halfway up the axis behind us to the left, then traveling up that axis back to us in the present at the center, representing a flow of healing. That healing of the past, of the original point of separation from which all distortions flow, reaching us in the present, freeing us from it, initiating our release, the momentum of release. For those not yet aware of what we just co-created, as well as those who are aware from participating in our 8/8 portal activation, I want you to continue moving your 6 bodies along the same path we just followed. Only I want you to begin to do it faster and faster, continuous, without stopping. Let's go with 9 times, because 9. And as you do so, I want you to think about the flow of receiving and releasing, initiating a momentum of healing as you form that top loop counterclockwise in front of you. And think about the flow of collecting and healing, initiating a moment of release as you form the bottom loop clockwise behind you. See the infinite flow of one feeding the other and vice versa in reflected form, in reflected time. For those that weren't aware, do you see what we just co-created? Do you see the shape your movement is creating? Sacred geometry. An infinity symbol. Infinite reconciliation. An infinite momentum of healing and release. Momentum that flows faster and faster through the work we are initiating and activating, increasing our 0 point energy until we reach a point where all of the steps we just flowed through, the flow of that infinity symbol, of healing, of release happens in an instant, where expansion happens in an instant. A point where every distortion that has ever arisen in the past and every distortion that will seek to rise in the future will be received and released at the same time, ensuring that oneness, truth, is infinite, unshakable. A point where every separation point has occurred in the past and every separation point that will seek to occur in the future will be healed and released at the same time, preventing the original separation from ever happening again. Momentum that flows not just along one, but along both sets of the masculine and feminine axes of above and the reflected feminine and masculine axes of below, that bridges the sovereignty of each axis together, unites them, allowing both sovereignty and unity to exist at the same time without one overpowering the other. That bridges not only the axes of above and the axes of below themselves together in oneness, but now also bridges above and below together as well, across the astral plane, across the gap into expanded oneness. As you continue to see that infinity symbol, that momentum, I want you to see that sneak peek I got earlier. I'm not entirely sure what myself or you are meant to get out of it yet, but it is the next major shift that will be coming as we enter 2026. The return to one, the beginning of the next 9-year cycle. See when the momentum of the green ray forming that infinity symbol reaches that instantaneous healing, release, and expansion point. When the momentum is moving fast enough to reach that point. Then see the green ray forming that infinity symbol begin to expand beyond the bounds of the axes it flows along, more and more, until it stretches into what looks to be a double toroidal field. A field that came into my awareness months ago. I believe it was back in April, after a session I received. I'm gonna have to circle back to that one. A double toroidal field, a stretched out infinity symbol that at some point begins to look more like a circle, and then at some point further still looks like a square that fills in the gap, that fills in the space of expansion we are working with. A square whose outside edges form a foundation that connects our above pyramid and our below pyramid into our diamond fully. A square that still very much flows like an infinity symbol, because those loops are still there. They have just expanded to fill the space, fueled by us expanding into that space. That is true oneness. And not just that, the expanded oneness that Maya called for us to initiate and activate, which we have. That is what I'm receiving. And I'm going to leave it at that, because that's all I'm being allowed to receive right now. Take a deep breath. You've earned it. Before we end this meditation, this journey, this call to action, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to be silent for a few minutes. Not for reflection, as we usually do, but rather to allow space for you, for all that joined us today, below and above, to activate what we initiated. Set the intention that we activate what we initiated together. You can do so silently. You can do so out loud. You can do so with light language, verbal, hand, whatever feels right for you. There is no right or wrong. Just set the intention that we activate the expanded oneness we initiated together today. Go ahead and take 3 more slow and deep breaths. Lowering your hands from your heart space, if they are still there. Shaking them out. Releasing some built up energy. I'm feeling some, and I feel that some of you are as well. Allowing yourself to come back to your physical body and your present surroundings. Allowing your outer eyes to open when you feel ready to do so. Understand that what we accomplished here today, between above and below, in the 9th month, for the 999 portal, at the end of a 9-year cycle in 2025, it is the completion of the initiation and activation of momentum, not the completion of the healing and release of the original separation and the distortions that have flowed from it, not the completion of the return to oneness between above and below, not the completion of infinite 0-point energy for all above and below, and not the completion of the unified diamond blueprint of creation across all of the nodal points of Earth. I get why my team delayed the release of that now. It was supposed to be an August activation, and it came out just over the line into September. Not the completion of these things, but the completion of the initiation and activation of the momentum for these things, which will carry us into 2026, back to one, back to the start of the next 9-year cycle. We have shifted. We have not settled. We've accomplished a lot. We've earned a little break and time for reflection over the next 3 months. Then we've got more work to do, guys. I hope that you will join us for that work, as well as others that are heeding the same calls to initiate and activate momentum for the same or different things. All of that said, thank you for joining me today. Thank you for the energy, the fuel that you contributed to what we achieved today. Thank you to our guide, Maia, Archangel Mary. She was pretty quiet, but I did warn you. She is silence that speaks volumes. She is stillness that moves mountains. She is sovereignty that is based in surrender, not domination. She spoke with us in silence so that below could be truly heard by above. She stood still, held space, so that together, below and above, could move mountains. She guided us through surrender, not domination, as an example, so that those above would do the same this time around. Ooh. She's a badass, I told you. And thank you to all of the others above and below, beyond this recording, that joined us, whether they realized why they were joining in or not. I'm getting a visual of a lot of beings of light above and below that were making infinity symbols with their bodies or with their energy, with no idea why. Oops. Sorry, not sorry. I don't have anything else to say. I'm not going to share what lies beyond this recording yet. Because, honestly, I'm not sure. Beyond assuming I will have something to share for the equinox. Beyond that, I encourage you all to rest. Get lots of water. Give yourselves a little extra grace, a little extra love, and a little extra self-care. Because a lot of shifts, a lot of initiations, a lot of activations are happening right now from a lot of sources. We have earned a break. So let's accept it with gratitude and return from it when we feel called to.